It's a show about information, empowerment, issues that's happening in society, motivation, stories, and that's it. We're going to talk about a book, we're going to talk about a song, just give some advice, like what's hot out there. We're going to talk about the Lord at times, but I'm going to keep it short to the point. The Coach Eric Moore Show is official. We right here recording at Pound for Pound Studio, which I've been blessed to be able to come in. And you guys have been telling me about this show ever since the Kenneth Sean Daly show a couple of years ago. Big shouts out to Kenneth Sean Daly, and his show will be returning soon. The rumor mill has it that he's working on some big things. He's getting some things together, and more than likely I'll be a part of that show too. I decided to branch off because I want to touch issues and things that's going on in our news, current event, conspiracy theories. What was going to be a segment like, what do you mean, what are you saying? Talk about books, music, and how you feel about what's happening in everyday life. We know the news has been crazy this past couple of weeks, really the past month, with the Ferguson thing, the guy in New York that got choked up, even back going to the Donald Sterling, it's all kind of kicked it off to the point where basketball players are protesting, football players are protesting, Hollywood actors and actresses are protesting, and they're saying to themselves, this stuff has to stop. Just recently with the young man who was gunned down by the police for carrying a BB gun, and just listening to CNN, even before I even came over to record, I got drawn in by the dialogue and the perception that the media wants you to see, and also that the perception that the news channel people are hiring to come in to sway your views. All these things are going to be talked about here on the Coach Eric Moore Show. Once again, my website is www.ericmorrisinfo.org. If you want to book me for speaking, or have me come out to one of your events and actually just have an open roundtable discussion. Once again, that's www.ericmorrisinfo.org. And also you can order my book. The book is called Be the Fire That Burns Within. Once again, the book is called Be the Fire That Burns Within. It is truly a blessing for me to get this show kicked off. And the first thing I want to do is, right as this being recorded, you'll be able to leave answers to what you might feel are the answers, questions to what you want me to talk about in the next show, or questions about what you had from the previous show, about what we spoke about, and I'll be able to respond myself, Corey, and others who I have looking at it and say, hey, let's get back to these questions. The first thing first, what is going on in our country? As an African-American male, yes, I consider myself still young. I am a target along with a lot of other African-American young men. It's not about your education. It's not about your dreadlocks. It's not about if you commit crime, if you don't. It's the simple fact that the perception of many is bad, that when it comes down to African-American men and what they look like, what they dress like, and being in the school system for over 12 years, I have had countless conversations with our African-American boys about first perception is always your best. And even now, it's hard for me to have that discussion with them because they say they're shooting guys with ties on because they have dreadlocks. They're shooting people, thinking people are thugs and drug dealers that are bankers because they're driving nice cars and they're on their way to the gym. What America is doing is painting a bad picture of the African-American male, not based on his character, not based on the things that he knows, but based on the perception of what the media has put out there concerning African-American male. You're wild, you're a thug, you only know rap, you don't know no type of English dialect, you don't read, you don't write, you don't finish school, you got 9 or 10 kids that you don't take care of. This is the perception in our movies, in our video games, in our books, in our school system, even in our own police department. They are trained to look at the African-American male as a threat. And myself, Coach Eric Morris, who's coached on different levels and coached different types of African-American male, as far as background, character, a lot of guys I had to change and teach them. Because if you look at it, 9, we're at the point of 9, you do the research, I'll say 7 to 9. Out of every 10 homes, there's no father. So where's our teachers? Do we want to blame our fathers? That's the question I want to ask you today. Could Ferguson been different if that young man's father was in his life, I don't know, or in his home, was not divorced, the mom didn't have anybody else. And you've seen, and I knew this was coming, that the young man that she is married to, when he made the comment, burn this thing down, I said, this is where the media is going to sway to him to make him look bad, to downplay the actual protesting and the crying out of rights in our country. So my question is, I need ideas, people. People out here in YouTube world, Facebook world, whatever world you're in and you're watching this. What are some of the things, whatever your profession is, answers? I need answers. I need solutions. I'm tired of having a round table foolishness. A lot of our politicians are doing that. I'm tired of not talking about the elephant in the room. I'm tired of putting Band-Aids over cancer. What is a solution that you think that our young black men, if you could sit down and talk to 1,000 young black men on a huge screen, what would be some of the solutions you give them? I can give you my solutions, and I will in a minute, but I want to hear from you. I need to hear, because I want to take these things down and actually present them and show other students and say, would you listen? Do you understand when somebody says it's better to be groomed up and trimmed up when you're walking down the street and or going to a job interview instead of saying, I want to look the way I want to look because the culture says it's okay? Do you feel that the father should be more involved? Do you feel that the mother should allow fathers to be more involved? Do you feel that this stigma is going to always be on the African American male because of the way that media portrays us? I need to hear answers from you. Let me break out a few points. Point number one, the negative side. The African American male are leading in all other males in the prison population. 8 out of every 10 males had either seen jail, had a run-in with the police, had some run-in with the law, or in jail now, and that's usually before the age of 17. Now the numbers might have changed since 2013. Number two, our education system. In some of our public school and low-income areas, our young African American males are looked at as distractions, and when they're looked at as distractions, they're ready to miseducate them, medicate them, and that leads to other problems. They're usually sitting in the back of the class, and if they are a disruption problem because they might learn differently, not saying that they have a behavioral issue, they are looked at as having something and then being sent to a special ed room. My third point, what are you doing as a community to pour into the black men in your community? Now, if there's no black men in your community, young black men, find some. What are you doing? If they're standing on the corner, are you talking to them? Are you approaching them? Are we living in fear to our young black men? I'm not saying nothing to them, I'm afraid. Are we being held hostage by the young men in our own community when we, as community leaders in our homes, if you're a homeowner, or if you rent or whatever, you can say something, or a person of experience, you can go out and say something to them. And whatever the chips may fall, whatever consequences they may be, you will let them know the truth. So I want to hear from you. I want to address or readdress these questions on the next show. Or are you just sitting around waiting for the coach to talk to them, somebody else's parent and or a teacher that might not look like them, might not have the same cultural background as them, but they're the ones that's sowing into them? Give me an example of when you reached out to a young black brother and he listened. Give me an example when you reached out to them and they didn't listen, but you still respected them and said, hey, this is not what we do in the community. You can do better. Our education system is failing our young black men. Our societal system or society system or whatever you want to call it system is failing. But the thing that I care about the most, are we just leading them to the water instead of watching them drink? You can't make them, at least watch them and guide them. Point the finger to the water. Or we just lead them to the water and say, I did my part. I used to be that way. Hey, I gave them all the information, now it's up to them. Some of our young black men and older black men need their hand held for a while. A lot of you women out there, y'all probably laugh like, yeah, my guy right now, he still needs his hand held. What can we do as a community to keep the foolishness out of our community so our young black men won't get caught up? Because a lot of young black men that I've talked to, the first thing they're going to tell me about, I want to take care of my mother. My daddy's not at home. I got to grind. The teacher don't believe me. The teacher ain't trying to hit. I got to get paid. I can play basketball. I can rap. I can sing. Or some other form of saying what I know and what I can do with this right here. And then the ones that are doing something with that, they're using it in a negative way. Do we have the back of our young black American men, today? And that's what I'm talking about. Once again, my website is www.ericmorrisinfo.org. Or we're going to continue to give our young black men back to the system and let them raise. Parents, ask yourself, are you afraid when another man, a strong black man, tells your son to stop doing something? Don't you talk to my baby like that. Are you one of those parents? Fathers, are we falling asleep behind the wheel because we're working too much and not spending quality time? Or we're so concerned about our kids being an athlete or some entertainer that we sweep his character issues under the rug. www.ericmorrisinfo.com. I need you to leave your answers, leave your comments and questions below. Big shouts out, Power for Power Productions. Big shouts out to Kenneth Sean Daly. We love you out there. Big shouts out to Harold Newly Ward. People who have sown into my life. Big shouts out to Dr. Eric Boone, who is doing big and powerful things. Big shouts out to the motivator Lamont Brown. As we go through this show, I will always be giving shots out to people that's doing something positive. Now watch this. Not only are they doing something positive, but they lived a life of negativity at one time, and they decided to change. Once again, I need to hear about that. Early in the show, I talked about Ferguson, New York, the young man who also was shot in Cleveland for having a BB gun. What are your thoughts? What do you think about that? Me personally, first of all, I don't believe no person that does not have a weapon, that does not have any type of thing that can harm another person, should be choked. I saw the video. It disturbed me a lot. I didn't understand. I think the policemen were gung-ho. I have a lot of friends that are police officers because I ride motorcycles. I did not ask them because I don't like to put people in certain situations where they might have to answer the question according to what their job say and not according to how they feel. But I knew a lot of them, and I'll be honest with you, good police officers that are actually out here trying to help their family, help the community, did not even like the fact that that happened. It's just like when teachers and coaches misuse or take advantage of young athletes or young women or young boys in school. It makes the whole coaching system look bad. Or if a school get caught cheating, it makes the whole system look bad. My thoughts, and if you are a police officer or any type of law enforcement correction officer, I ask that you leave your comments and get back to me and honestly tell me. You don't have to leave your name and say, how do you feel? I do know a lot of policemen do talk about the academy and how they are trained to look at African Americans as a whole as unsafe, as loud, as our women is being loud and crazy and no signs of respect, and our young men being thugs. So what is our world coming to? We are getting upset because people are protesting, people are crying out, people are tired. And it's not a black thing. It is not a black thing. It's just happening to black people. Because I'm seeing more and more other races of people coming out to say, this has to stop because I'm tired of seeing it being done to black folks. I have to step up because the people that's doing it look like me. And I don't want to be labeled as a person that said, I agree with the character, I agree with the training of the police officers or the white police officers that feel that they're privileged because they are behind the badge. Like I said before, I have mad respect for police officers. The only way I don't, or I do disrespect, and I might not voice it, is when I see a police officer doing something that he did not do. Hit a kid in the head using the N-word, calling a kid another name if he's Hispanic, calling him another name if he's Jewish, calling him another name outside of his name if he's Irish, or if he's any Italian. I am against that. I'm against same violence on black police officers slapping black boys around. Because they made it out the hood, they feel I'm going to come back and police the hood, not serve and protect. I know here in Chicago it's serve and protect. not police. Once again, www.ericmorrisinfo.org. Book out called B, The Fire That Burns Within. This is a little bit about my story and how I made it over, how I was even pulled over by cops. Which will also be a part of my show is What Are You Reading? This book right here is unbelievable. Thug Mentality Exposed, by a minister and a psychiatrist in the California State prison system. This brother breaks it down to the cult symbols behind gang affiliation, to marijuana, to tattoos, pit bulls, and the whole thug life, and what these guys are actually going through, and why they feel it's necessary. It is not to make anyone look bad, but they also in this book have articles and letters from the men in the penal institution explaining why they're doing it. California gang member speaks out from a youth prison. This book is picked up on Amazon. It's by Rayful L. Johnson. Unbelievable. Unbelievable book. This is what I asked you to pick up this month, Thug Mentality Exposed. It's a lot of information, a lot of good readings. Each one of the stories has a title. And when you get into the minds of these young people and how they think and the things that they did before they committed their crimes, it will blow you away. Thug Mentality Exposed. Rayford L. Johnson. Once again, big shouts out to Pound for Pound Productions. And this is the Coach Eric Moore Show. What are you going to bring next week? You're going to give me your comments about what we spoke about. Ferguson, the young man or older man father who had daughters that was strangled by the police officers. And we're also going to talk about the young man with the BB gun. What do you think? What do you think you have to offer young black men? See, I'm out here speaking, so I'm out here doing something. I'm in one of the worst areas, top 5, according to reports last year, of violent areas. I teach taught in that area, Now I'm an administrator there. I'm giving back. I didn't take the money and run, but I am in the community doing something. What are you doing besides just talking? What are you doing besides just listening to me? I hope that you will tune in next week as we're going to dig deeper. Also, coming up, we're going to talk about the media and how they portray the African American man. And we're going to talk a little history. And we're going to also talk about this book, because this is our book of the month. What are you reading? Thug Mentality Exposed. Big shouts out to all my guys that's been listening. Big shouts out to all the teachers that's teaching, that's really teaching, all the pastors that are preaching, all the people that are leading. I leave you with this. Let yourself be known in a positive light, because there's enough negative light being shined on our people. God bless. Peace.